Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey, y'all, how y'all doing? My apologies for the late. That's what the community said. F them kids. That's what the community said. F them kids. We don't care what's in their head. F them kids. They can't write and can't read, but they can cuss you out with speed. F them kids. That's what the community said. Now, why are we mad at the guy? And why is he a scammer? Why are we mad at him? Because we're going to share the video. And I got a couple of videos to illustrate the point. I don't know why we mad at him. Because it was people under his thing like, don't he run a cooking show, or like he got like cooking content or whatever. And I was because I don't know him, and I'm like, he can't cook and teach. I was just wondering. I was just wondering because I don't know him. Okay, so this is the video in question. We gonna take a look at the video.
So I am on my lunch break. It is, I don't know, 11:30 or something like that. And I just finished a 3-hour class. We have what's called block, and block is where first and second periods are combined for subjects that need it. And so I literally broke down in the middle of class because I'm teaching seniors. These kids are leaving high school and going to college, hopefully, after they finish. We had 2 paragraphs to read, 1 sentence complete to write. So I am on my, I don't know. I simply don't know where the problem is. This is only day 2. And I have seniors who simply cannot read and seniors who cannot write. They cannot write. They can reason. They have the ability to defend their reasoning if it's talking to their homeboy, but applying that to a written text, 2 paragraphs, and they couldn't do it. Our young black men, our young brown men, our young black girls, and our young brown girls I don't know. I simply
we're going to look at something else. This right here is the superintendent for the Houston ISD, okay, which is where the man is speaking from. Now, before we move on to him, people were going back and forth about Mr. Darius, the one who was crying. And they was going back and forth. When did he become a teacher? And I seen a video of his where he go down the timeline of he basically just started studying to be a teacher and got his certification over the summer. And part of what he needs to do is field work, which means he got to go teach, right? So he was like, well, this was my first time, and it was only like my second or third day there. So he didn't claim to have a long teaching history or whatever, but to witness such horrible levels of illiteracy in students that are supposed to be able to read at or above their grade level. We're talking about seniors who are basically, for all intents and purposes, young adults. These are like the adults, right? They're young, but young adults. They're going to move out into the world after high school. They're going to enter either college, quote unquote, or the workforce or something like that, with below average reading. This is supposed to be the superintendent of the school systems in Houston.
Is that new information? I don't think that's new information. The sentiment, I think we all share for 4 years or 3 years. The sentiment that there are students who need support. 4 years ago, Wheatley was an F. There were many more students who could not read at grade level or do math at grade level. That is why we're here. That's why this is serious. That's why we're doing something about the fact that the students can't read at grade level. Yes, we're doing great. I hope we celebrate that. In fact, we're going to go to Wheatley tomorrow and celebrate the fact that they have an A, because the A and these numbers don't really mean that much unless you think about the kids behind it. When you go from 38 percentage points or 34 to 58 in Algebra 1, that's hundreds, thousands of students who can now do math at grade level in either 8th or 9th grade. That's setting them up for success. Still, when you're at a 58, that means that there's 42% that's not at grade level. So yes, it's not news that kids that struggle, and that's why it's so important doing what we're doing. That's why we raise expectations. Where was the outrage, if there's outrage over that video or post? If there's outrage, where was that in 2023? I hope there was. That's why we're doing the rigor that we're the work as rigorously as we can. That's why there's an urgency. People say we're moving too fast. People can't catch up. People say that, the expectations are too hard. We have a sense of time. We're pushing kids too hard. All those comments. And I say, yes, we are using time well. Yes, we are raising expectations. And guess what? The kids have risen to the level of expectation so that we don't have as many situations as that. But you can go into any high school today, or almost any high school, some you can't, and you will have kids who cannot read at grade level. That's why the work has to continue, and that's why we need to be urgent and we need to be serious about this.
How did they pass to the next grade? That's the problem we gonna talk about. The reason why I titled it F Them Kids is because that is what the community has said. The Black community has said F them kids. Because we continue to go for and allow these types of things. I did a simple, my prompt was, what have been the most negative effects of the No Child Left Behind law? No Child Left Behind has been criticized for its negative impacts on students, teachers, and the overall educational experience, including increased anxiety, a narrow curriculum, and decreased teacher morale. Increased test anxiety. One of the significant negative effects is the increased anxiety among students due to high stakes testing. The pressure to perform well on standardized tests leads to heightened stress and anxiety, which compromises students' learning and overall well-being. Research indicates that this anxiety negatively affects their interest in school subjects, leading to behavioral issues and disengagement from the learning process. The narrowing of the curriculum. No Child Left Behind has also resulted in a narrowing of the curriculum as schools focus primarily on tested subjects like reading and math at the expense of other areas such as art, music, and physical education. This shift often leads to a less engaging educational experience for students. The teachers resort to teaching to the test rather than fostering a well-rounded education. Studies have shown that many schools reduced instructional time for non-tested subjects to allocate more time to test preparation, which diminishes students' overall education experience. And I don't want that to go over nobody's head. Teaching to the test. So whatever is going to be on the standardized test, each state has their own. When I was little, it was the Iowa test, right? And then it was the ISAT or something like that. You know, each state got a different name for it. But the state level standardized tests, they're not teaching. I want people to understand, it's not being taught reading, comprehension, literature is not actually being taught. They're being taught and oftentimes given the answers to a test rather than being taught the subject matter in such a way that they understand and that the comprehension becomes second nature to them. Then let's talk about test material. Do y'all get what I'm saying? So when a teacher has to teach to the test, like they're saying, they're cutting out other subject matter. But what they failed to understand was that all of that subject matter that seemed not important was actually the support system for the reading and mathematics, because you cannot teach reading without literature arts. You can't teach it. You can't teach proper reading, comprehension, and critical thinking without literature class. Seem like, oh, the literary arts, that's not very important. You're not going to use that in life. Yes, you will. Yes, you do. The skill set of reading and comprehension that you learn through reading Shakespeare's plays, other popular literary works, other literary works, it's not the literary work that's the thing. It's the skill you learned to master by going over the literature. You can't read without reading. You can't expand your vocabulary without reading. The reading comprehension comes through the reading and studying of various literary work, and then having to answer questions about it. The questions test your comprehension skill. The vocabulary is expanded, and you are able to then, through reading fiction and nonfiction, you are able to pick up on metaphorical speaking, idioms, allegories, and other literary devices, context clues, and things of that nature that aid in the comprehension of what you read. That comprehension that you learn while reading these literary works that you don't think is important, you carry that to conversation and other interaction, because you can then pick up on that. When it is spoken word, written word, same thing. That's the one thing I noticed on this internet is people's comprehension skills are horrible. That's why I stopped talking to people on the internet. Engaging in certain conversations with people, at simple stuff go over their head. They do not have good comprehension skills. Can't tell something that is literal from something that is metaphorical or allegorical. Do not understand the difference. This is how they're getting into fights over simple statements. Do y'all remember that clip in 40-Year-Old Virgin with Kevin Hart? One of the funniest parts in the movie, actually. When Kevin Hart shows up in Smart Tech and he started talking to the other black guy, the bald black guy. And it was funny, but one of the things Kevin Hart character said was, "You saying too many big words right now. And since I don't understand what they mean, I'm going to take them as disrespect." You using too many big words right now. I don't know what they mean, so I'm going to take it as disrespect. That is what is happening in real time. Because what was his character? What else did his character say? Now, don't be my Negro, be my, okay? And handle the sale. And what else he say? Oh, this your boy? Oh, he repping Smart Tech. All right, I'm gonna come clap both y'all up. That was his thing, because he didn't understand what was being said to him. Funny clip, happens in real time. What was a joke however many years ago 40-Year-Old Virgin came out, is now a reality. The young people get mad because they don't understand what's being said to them. They don't know whether they should be offended or not, so they're getting offended. They don't know what's being said to them. This is why we're having a communication breakdown. We're not having a communication breakdown because there's such a gap in generation. Gen X is having a communication breakdown with Gen Z not because we too old and we just don't understand. It's because they lack basic comprehension skills. So no matter how much we simplify what we say or give them examples, similes, metaphors, and allegories about what we say, no matter how many analogies we use, the critical thinking is not there. The comprehension is low. So it doesn't matter how you say it. They don't know what you're talking about. So they're going to get offended. They are functionally illiterate. Following directions is a challenge. It has to be specifically written out because you know what other skill that they didn't learn through literary art class that you're supposed to learn? Inference. They did not learn inferences. They didn't learn inference. When something infers something else, they have no idea about that. Not only do they not know it by name, they don't understand or harbor the concept either. Let's go back to this. It's a little teachy, but hang with me. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share, and don't forget to support today's lesson because we're going to get into it. Decrease teacher morale and professionalism. The emphasis on standardized testing and accountability measures has also had a detrimental effect on teacher morale. Many educators report feeling demoralized and deprofessionalized due to the pressure to meet testing benchmark. A significant percentage of teachers believe that No Child Left Behind has negatively impacted their autonomy and professional judgment, leading to a culture of compliance rather than one focused on teaching and learning. This deprofessionalization can result in lower job satisfaction and higher turnover rate, further destabilizing the educational environment. Before I move on, we got to talk about that part. The teacher morale is low because I can't teach them. I can't teach them in the best way that I believe that they will learn. Because we're no longer trying to teach subject matter, concepts, and critical thinking. It said focus on compliance. So we have to meet benchmarks. We have to worry too much about a testing score and this and that. Because for those of you who don't understand what No Child Left Behind really is, it was something that was passed into law for the educational system all across the United States, to where every state had to comply with state testing and focus on graduation rates and higher testing rates. Okay? It also focused on restructuring the educational system, essentially, how teachers are taught and how schools are operated in order to center itself on the testing and just getting certain numbers. So what that did was, in order to get the numbers up, the school systems began to simply pass the students from grade to grade in order to get the percentage number up so that the school would not be defunded and shut down and those teachers out of work. Because that was the threat. So now we're dealing with not only inner city schools already suffering from low funding because schools are supposedly funded by property taxes in the area. Hence why affluent neighborhoods have better schools and more impoverished neighborhoods have worse schools. So instead of doing what we used to do, if you failed and you kept failing, you shall not pass. So you can't pass. Sorry, you got to either do summer school. You just going to be big sitting in this school. You going to be big sitting in that 7th grade. You big. You big. You big. And a lot of them kids, even some of the kids that didn't really want to go to school, you know what it would do? Embarrass them. I'm too big to be sitting in this class. Let me do my work. At least let me get these C's and D's. At least let me get these C's and D's so I can get on up out of here. I can't keep getting straight F's. I got to get up out of here. And the ones who could not even get themselves together for C's and D's, they dropped out. They left. Because you can age out of school. When I was going to school, you could age out. Once you get 16, you can't come back to elementary school now. So that used to put a fire under a lot of kids who didn't want to pay attention to school, because all them kids that was failing wasn't stupid. It wasn't that they didn't understand the curriculum. They just weren't paying attention. They want to be talking and skipping class and stuff like that. But once too many F's, you done failed the year too many times. You done been sat down too many times. It start getting embarrassing to them, to the kids. So they will buckle down, and they buckling down might have been just them D's just to get enough credits so they could get out of there. Because they starting to be too big to be even in high school. You had girls looking like grown women. The boys start growing facial hair. He looked like one of the teachers. So now the schools no longer do that. You can pass without all your credits. They'll send you to the next grade. We're going to get to the parents. We're going to get to the parents. One last piece here. Limited improvement in educational outcomes. Despite the intent, No Child Left Behind has not consistently led to significant improvement in educational outcome. While some studies indicate minor gains in math scores, particularly among disadvantaged students, there's little evidence that these gains translate into broader educational success or improvement in reading. The act focuses on standardized testing, has raised concerns about the validity of the improvement as they may stem from teaching strategies aimed specifically at test performance rather than genuine learning. That was the problem that I was talking about before. In summary, while No Child Left Behind aimed to improve educational equity and accountability, its implementation has led to several negative consequences, including increased anxiety among students, a narrow curriculum, decreased teacher morale, and limited improvements in educational outcomes. These issues highlight the need for a more balanced approach in education that prioritizes holistic learning and the well-being of both the student and the teacher. When I get back, now that I kind of went over No Child Left Behind, now we're going to talk about, that was the institution. That was how the institution is failing. We come back from this commercial break, we're going to talk about how the parents have failed. So everybody's saying, F them kids, everybody. After these messages, we'll be right back. So I need everybody to go to ashkicking.com. The link is pinned to the chat. If you want to keep your skin looking and feeling its best, you need the body butter on screen right now. In order to take it, if this is your first order, take advantage of the 10% discount using the promo code Crimson at checkout. Once again, the link is pinned to the chat, ashkicking.com. Oh, you guys are bam, 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 bam. You got to hit the like button. Bam, bam. You got to go ahead and hit the like button. Thank you, Marcus said, never trust a man who boo-hoos publicly. HVAC said, this is why the Gen Z versus X war, old versus young, and that's not good. There's been blood loss on both sides because of communication. Thank you, Elder Ben said, it's an issue that truly needs to be spoken on. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. Mentula said TGIF, or rather TAIF. Shout out to the yellow hijab and glasses fly sister. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. Anyone can learn, so everything is given to them in school without them having to discover their great. See, that's a part of it. We're going to come back to that. Thank you, Mr. Lipsis said, might as well pay my tithes and tuition. Great vid as always. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, Remy. Keep it real. So talking about Suki Hana confusing the word musician for magician and then getting in somewhat of an argument during an interview. Exactly. That was a good example of what we're talking about. Thank you, Richard said school used to be for instruction, not education. Education was at home. Now parents don't educate their children. Thank you, Captain says showing love in a collection plate. Keep preaching. I appreciate you. Thank you again, HVAC. I'm happy I was born in the beginning of Gen Z because we are good to go. But these kids after 2005, they failed us back then. No excuses. My friends did enough to pass. I made A's. Thank you, Common said they lowered the standard of education system, and intelligent kids who performed at their higher level will be held down to the standard of the slower, less intelligent kids. That's a fact. But before we get back to it, we're going to get back to this.
One, two.
It feels amazing. I like how it's making you do the push.
This right here is official. Never really saw anything like this before. How do you know when you're doing a proper push up? You gotta go all the way down, chest touching the floor, coming back up full extension. But now that you told me how to do it, now how you know when you're doing it? You don't know, and you won't know unless you have what it is. Nah, that was fire. That was fire. Make sure it keeps you accountable. Accountability is everything. So
incredible. You can't cheat.
great.
Go all the way down and all the way up, and that's one solid rep. Good money.
That's it. It's no arguing, no debating, no questioning. All the way down, all the way up. You got to start and finish the same way.
She got my shit.
I'm fucking crib right now.
Go to theproperpush.com. Why won't it let me pin it? Hold on. Why won't it let me pin? Anyway, go to theproperpush.com/VIP in order to unlock your VIP exclusive offer and support the Proper Push. All you need to do is click on theproperpush.com/VIP, share your email and verify it. Then you'll receive in your inbox a reservation invite in order to unlock your VIP exclusive offers for those who want to support the Proper Push. It threw me off because it don't want me to link it. And that's kind of crazy. I'm sorry, y'all. Because what? Anyway. We're going to flip to the parents. And not specific parents, but just I want to show y'all these videos. First, a teacher or two.
Hi, the kids know me as Miss G. They're probably on this app somewhere. And no, a lot of my students could not read. I'm going to share with you guys something. Buckle up. I don't know, grab a drink of water. Listen, put your phone down. I'm going to share with you guys something that I've known for a while. And it's one of the reasons why I left teaching. No, students cannot read. And I'm going to take you back to teacher education school. So one of the classes that I took was to potentially become a reading specialist. And I remember distinctly feeling a pit in my stomach when this professor said, we don't teach phonics because there are exceptions to the rule. Like words like the don't always follow the rules, so we don't teach the rules. And I felt something deep within my soul that said, this is wrong. And everybody goes, yeah, that makes so much sense. And
that right there. What you mean y'all don't teach the rules? What y'all mean y'all don't teach? How do you not teach grammar? They're running around and they don't know what are verbs. They would not be able to name y'all the basic parts of a sentence. And what makes a sentence a whole sentence versus an improper sentence. They have no concept of this. How do you not teach English grammar? How do you not teach English grammar? because not every word follows the same exact rule. They mean stuff like the word tough, Tough. If you see the word bow, it's not the same. Bow, like the bough of a tree, Bough. It's not buff, it's bow. The word the, they don't want to teach the word the. Right. Because you don't say it the same. Tough and rough, but not tough and bow. They don't got no choice. That's why I went over No Child Left Behind. That's where the teacher demoralization is, because they can't, they have to, you got to sell your soul. I can't do what I know as a teacher will work, because if I take the time to actually teach them the concept, they won't be prepared for the test. And they'll fail it. They can't do it, y'all. They can't do it, y'all. They having trouble. They having trouble. This tearing them up. This tearing them up. Tearing them out the frame. Two, and two. They do not know how to put this and use this properly grammatically, because y'all don't teach grammar. That's unbelievable. Two, the number. Two as well, also. Two could be going to or towards something. This tearing them out the frame. This tearing them up. Tearing them up. There, and there. Don't know the difference. There, a location. The train is over there. There, possessive. That is their car. There, contraction. They are. This is also tearing folk up. I don't know how they mixing this up. Our. Are. A to be verb. A conjugated to be verb. Are is a verb. Are is a verb of being. Our. Possessive. Our. This is our house. Let me show y'all some other stuff. This is how the students are being raised. Tell me what's wrong with this.
Sit down. Oh, we're not leaving. We are not leaving.
You're a grown ass woman. You're a grown adult. You're a grown adult, grown ass woman.
That was on the school bus. We'll give you another example. This is how they being raised.
My son said you were being rude to him, and I was trying to figure out what was going on.
No, actually, your son was being rude to me. When I came out on my patio, they were playing some type of ball right there. And I came on my patio and I said, can y'all go play over there because y'all playing with that ball too close to people's cars? And he said, well, which one is your car? And I said, it doesn't matter which one is my car.
Oh, I thought he did.
And then I said, it doesn't matter whose car, but you guys are playing too close to people's cars. And I said, all you have to do is go play in the grass right there with the ball. He said, well, I got a question. And I said, what's your question? Which one of these cars is yours? I said, it doesn't matter which car is mine. And then he said, you don't know who my mama is. Bitch, my mama will beat your ass. And then I said, well, then go get your mother so I can talk to your mother. He said, you don't even know who the fuck I am. That's exactly what so I wasn't being rude. Now my voice was raised, but I wasn't being rude until you said, I'll cuss you out. And I said, I'm going to cuss your ass back out.
No, I don't like how you're talking to me. I don't like how you're talking to me, bro.
I'm explaining to him what I said to you.
You're talking to me like I don't like how you're talking to him. This is my son. You don't have to talk to me. No, I'm his son. I trust
to you.
I don't give a fuck about none of that, bro.
See, that's what
You
I'm saying.
think I care about that shit? You think I care about none of that shit? I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Walk off. What's wrong with you? Walk off. Listen.
My son said you were being rude to him, and I was trying to figure out what was going on.
No, actually, your son was being rude to me. When I came out on my patio, they were playing.
I want y'all to understand something, and I want y'all to hear me well. This is a so-called community problem. Because when we talk about the single mother statistic, that statistic is predicated on the women not being married by the state and they have children. Those count as single mothers and like a single mother household. But please don't get it in your mind that none of these households have men in them. I want y'all to understand that. Do not get it in your mind that none of these households have men in them. There are many that are cohabitating. The man and the woman are cohabitating, but they're not married. So when we say single mother household, it's not 100%. There's no man nowhere to be found in these children's lives. They're there. Now what you have to ask yourself is the quality of the man that are with these, and the quality of the women, and the quality of the children that they are producing out of these homes. Because when his big old son got over there and started woofing at that old lady, he turned to her. He looked like he about 90 months pregnant. He turned to her to say, I don't like how you're talking to my son. See, the difference is, growing up in my era, Gen X, we could have never, ever. Do you understand me? You would get backhanded right there. Talking about. What do you mean? You trying to cuss and rear up at an adult? He done pull his pants up like he finna get busy. A Gen X boy would have been cold cocked right there. A Gen X's boy's father. And listen, I don't care the condition of his daddy. A Gen X boy daddy could have been kind of not there, somewhat there. He could have been 100% involved. He could have been, I got a rocky relationship with my son. And a Gen X daddy, for the most part, still wasn't going to take that one. Who you with? What? Because now you're disrespecting me. I know you ain't sat there and act like you, We finna fight right now. You finna fight me. So you fighting? You want to fight? Is that what I'm hearing? And not a lot of conversation. Our parents didn't have a lot of conversation for this. Not for this type of behavior. We didn't have a lot of conversation. It wasn't a lot to talk about. It wasn't a lot to talk about. Once your parents saw that, And listen, let me tell you something. Sometimes the way our mamas was, you kind of didn't need daddy all the time for that discipline either, because mama finna go crazy. Mama finna go crazy. Mama finna go crazy. Daddy is a relief. Because your mama, our mamas, was boomer mamas. Listen, let me tell you this. Our mothers, our Gen X's, our mothers were baby boomers. Some of us was raised by our grandparents. That was the greatest generation. They hit you with anything. Do you understand me? That they did not mind drawing blood out of you. Do you hear the words that's coming out of my mouth? They would hit you with anything near at hand. In the 70s, we used to have something called ashtrays. Not them little plastic things. Ashtrays used to be like paperweights, glass, heavy glass, blown glass. Those were the ashtrays of like the 70s and stuff like that. I had an auntie that would throw it like a frisbee because she chain smoked. So she had a bunch of ashtrays. And she had a bunch of boys. And they got smart. They knew to get, if they got smart, go out of the door. Because the next thing you know, there's going to be an ashtray and you better duck. Our grandparents and parents did not play. They would draw blood out of you. You literally thought they meant that when they say, I brought you in here, I'll take you out. They meant that. They meant that. They would do that to you and then doctor you up. Do you understand me? See, Gen X, when we tried to raise y'all, not quite in that environment. I see that was a mistake. It was a mistake not throwing an ashtray at your head. Bad as it sounds. They used to break broom handles over you. And it wasn't these plastic broom handles. Broom and mop handles used to be solid pieces of oak. Switches. Do y'all know what switch ain't? Now, y'all got this little gun. We ain't talking about a gun. Go and get the switch mint. Go outside. Get a thin branch off of the tree and strip it. It functioned like a whip. You would be cut and bleeding. And we tried to spare y'all them kind of slave beatings because we said kids don't need slave beatings like that. But we didn't. I'm going to tell you what we didn't do as Gen X's. We didn't say no capital punishment. You going to get something. Just not an extension cord on your bed. They would get you in the tub. Our parents, y'all couldn't have survived it. Y'all couldn't have survived it at all. Leather belts, real leather, not pleather, not none of this play school stuff y'all got now. Heavy leather. The purse strap of a purse your mama don't use no more. Nasty belt. And they didn't used to care where they hit you. Only your daddy kind of cared where he hit you. Your mama didn't. She smacked you in the face with that belt, have a web across your face like that. She didn't care. Our parents beat us in anger. They didn't wait to cool down. They didn't try to talk. You know why they didn't talk? Because you knew the rules. They already talked. They already talked. You knew exactly what you were and were not supposed to be doing. Coming up to the school to get your report card. You better hope you wasn't being bad in that class, because your mama will be up at that school listening to that teacher, and you would be shaking like a leaf in a high wind if that teacher said something or snitched on you. Because your mama would backhand you in front of the teacher. The teacher wasn't finna tell nobody. CPS was not gonna be called. Do you understand that? Our mamas used to threaten us. I don't know. Y'all mama used to threaten you? My mama used to threaten me. Call the police. It take them a minute to get here. Call somebody. It's going to take them a little while to get here, though. Just, I want you to know that. And we said there's a difference between the slave beatings we received and a spanking. And it is. It is. Gen X said there's a difference between getting your kid and beating them with an extension cord until they bleed and a spanking. The extension cord till they bleed is abuse. It is abuse. Just because we lived through it don't mean it wasn't. That is abusive. We say, a spanking, that you gonna still get one of them. I can spank you and not hurt you. I can spank you and not to that degree. And we was all right till they started with that gentle parenting stuff with the millennials. Once the millennials start having kids, and they started y'all with Dr. Spock, not from Star Trek, that the doctor guy that was writing all them baby books. And then they started with that gentle parenting and timeouts, and you can talk to them. And you don't have to hit them, because hitting teaches them violence, and it teaches them how not to resolve. No, it don't. It teach them, don't play with me. And I said what I said, and I'm not going to keep on saying it. That's what it teaches. What they failed to tell you with gentle parenting was that the spanking phase, listen, let me tell you something, because I raised two from arm babies, from diaper babies. The phase of spanking is actually really short. The phase where you actually have to put your hands on kids is actually short. If your child is 14 and 15 and you still looking at them like they need hands put on them, you did it wrong. The span for corporal punishment for your child is short. It's typically during the time where they can't reason it out anyway. Talking to them would not help because they don't understand the concepts. Okay? So little kids are impulsive and they don't listen. And you cannot talk to them and reason with them about why what they did was wrong. Because at 3, 4, 5, and 6, they don't know and don't care. Around 8 years old, 9 years old, we shouldn't have to do this. Especially past like 10, we shouldn't have to do this. Because at this point, I should be able to talk to you. And if I have raised you correctly, you respect me enough that when I talk to you, there's enough there to keep me from putting my hands on you. Now, you may have a slip up here and there when they're around 10, but generally speaking, if you did it correctly, especially once they hit middle school and high school, you should not have to put your hands on them. The respect should be there. The healthy fear of you should be there. And it should be enough for them that they've disappointed you and angered you. So talking to them, explaining to them why you're upset and what's wrong with what they did and make them think about it, that should work at that point. But when they think they're going to fall out in the middle of the store because they didn't get some dino bites or whatever little kids is eating at this point, no, absolutely not. I'm not reasoning with you in that store. And I'm not going to stop shopping. You're going to stop. I'm not picking you up and leaving out the store and leaving my cart at the store. Do you think I got time to come back here? I done spent all my bus fare with this shopping cart to come down here to this supermarket. And you think because you crying because you didn't get no fruit roll-ups and I told you to put them down that I'm going to take you, leave this cart, take my bus fare back home because you're crying? Absolutely not. Somebody had to come get me off of you before that happened. I don't understand. See, that gentle parenting got y'all not able to just look at your kids and get them together. Just stop. Shut up. Because you knew if your mama had to stop and look at you, she done. She not going to tell you no more. Our mama used to tell us, don't embarrass me. I'll embarrass you. I go to jail about it. It's all right. You don't make your kids think about nothing. You know, our parents used to, if we did something stupid, put a 1 in the chat if your mama or daddy or your auntie or somebody said, now, did that make sense to you? Wait. Did that make sense to you? And they wanted an answer. That was not a rhetorical question. That was not a rhetorical question. They want you to explain to them, why did you do that? Right now. Right now. I want an explanation. I want to hear your reasoning. I want you to think about it. Now, did that make sense to you? So, and they walk you down. Our parents walked us down. So now that you said that, didn't I say such and such? So if you heard me say that, why'd you do that anyway? They hit you with the catch-22. Because now you got to admit that you understood what you did wrong beforehand. You might get popped for that. Getting popped was always on the table. That was always on the table. We not playing when we did homework at the house and your mama said, if Johnny have 5 apples, she would sit there with you. That's what's not happening. No discipline in the home. You take up for your children no matter how wrong they are because you teach them how to be victims and how not to have accountability. This is why you have women, that's girls, that grow up without no accountability, and you're raising very highly emotional young men that can't regulate, and they also don't have accountability. Because you don't make them take accountability at home because you don't take accountability for nothing. Our mamas used to do random book bag checks. Soon as you walk in, on one day at school, hand me your book bag. Huh? Hand me. Sit down. And she opened that book bag. And I swear for God, you better not have a bunch of worksheets in there that wasn't done, homework assignments. You got a D on something, a bad grade. You stuffed it in the back and didn't say nothing about it and all that kind of foolishness. You got homework tonight? No. How you ain't got no homework? You don't got no homework? Mm-hmm. Okay. Room inspections. We wasn't allowed to be nasty and dirty in them rooms. Oh, absolutely not. Come on, get up. Up. We cleaning up. Come on. Pull them beds out. Pull the dress out. Come on. We tried the Gen X. We tried to divide it up and just give you a regular spanking. Then they came in with them timeouts, and I knew it was a wrap. I said timeout. So we put them in the corner. And what that gonna do? Because you got 1 or 2 kids that'll go for that. And then you got other kids that be like, oh, that's all I'm finna get. Mama just doing a lot of talking. Daddy do a lot of talking. I'm going to do what I want to do. Because society told kids, if your parents raise their voice at you, God forbid they raise their hand at you, you have to tell a teacher, and a teacher is a mandated reporter, so they have to tell their superiors and get CPS involved. So now you got the parents walking on eggshells about CPS just for spanking you or threatening to spank you. Our parents would not have cared. All our parents would have had open CPS cases. All of them. And would have told them social workers, yeah, I whooped them. What you gonna do? You don't feed nobody. They in my house, not yours. Now you don't want to whoop, take them to your house. You don't want me to raise them, take them to your house. Get them up out of here then. Because they're not going to be under my roof and don't follow my rules. They're not going to do that. They grown, they can get out of here. You don't want to play, you don't want to dance to my music no more, go ahead on. These kids will never know the horror of being promised a whooping. And then your mama let one day go by, 2 days go by, maybe even 3 days go by, and you think she might have forgot. She didn't. She didn't. She was letting it pile up. Wake you up in the middle of the night. Thought I forgot. It produces children who are not capable of being adults, not capable of adulting, and they don't want to stop bonnets, but they're not capable of being adults. This say do-rags and bonnets at a hiring event. Went to our first hiring event and saw everybody in business attire except our kids.
See, and this is what happens when you have an entire generation of dumb niggas that get on the internet and tell you that everything you do, having decorum, having a standard for yourself, and dressing appropriately in appropriate attire for appropriate situations, everything like that, black people having a fucking standard is kissing up to the white man or basing themselves off European standards and Eurocentric standards. You got a group of young black people thinking it's so fucking funny showing up to a hiring event. And they're in fucking sweatpants, Jordans, Crocs, and t-shirts, do-rags and shit on. And she's smiling like that shit fucking funny. And they're like 21 years old. This is what happens when people like myself, people like Dana, people like Chad have gotten on this app and told y'all, when y'all was sitting there arguing about the bubble coats and Ruth Chris, when we tell y'all to, dress appropriately, dress for the occasion, have some decorum about yourself. Everything ain't gotta be fucking hood rat and ratified. Y'all say we classes, we elitists, we kissing up to the white man. We got European standards for ourselves, as if black people can't have a fucking standard. This is what you get. This is what you produce. See, and then these motherfuckers will go out, not give, like life is a fucking joke, walking around looking like a bag of ass, degenerate as fuck, no standard for themselves. And then when they don't get hired, they don't get a job, oh, it's the white man's fault. That's what y'all do. This is what y'all have produced. And they think it's fucking funny. I don't care if you go into a job interview for fucking McDonald's, Burger King, Popeyes. The minimum you could do is throw on a fucking polo and some goddamn khakis and some casual shoes and take your ass in there. That's why a lot of y'all are where y'all are at. Because y'all don't have a standard for yourself and you don't set a precedent for yourself, whether it's whatever opportunity presents itself. You feel like, oh, I'm only gonna do something if it's this or that. No. You should have a fucking standard across the board for yourself. But y'all don't do that. And that's why y'all fucking suck at life. And that's why y'all are consistently stuck blaming the system, blaming the government, blaming the white man, blaming your mama, blaming childhood, blaming everybody but your fucking self for why you are where you are in fucking life. But then these be the motherfuckers that get on this very same, I need to be my own boss. I'm an entrepreneur. I can't work for nobody. No, y'all niggas don't. Y'all niggas just don't like structure. Y'all just niggas don't like rules. Y'all niggas don't like nobody telling y'all what to do. Y'all don't want to have, I'm done, bro. Just keep being scamming Jamals and bonnet Lakeishas. But for the young people who are out there that have a standard, the ceiling is the ceiling is in space for y'all because this is your fucking competition. If that's even what you want to call it. You should be running circles around these fucking bums.
And this was before Tuskegee University said no bonnets. And y'all was arguing in my chat about it was too much putting an onus on the students to tell them to get up and get dressed for the day. Bonnet, slides, and pajamas is not getting dressed for the day. It's not separate. These are not separate issues. This is all one big old long issue. That lady said, don't put no bonnets on. Well, what's the difference in a head wrap and a bonnet? And we really should not be surprised that they don't know the difference. Can't even spell. This, like I said, this is why I don't argue with nobody on the internet no more. They can't spell. Half of them bots, and the other half can't spell, read, and write anyway. So arguing for what? This is why I named it what I named it. We have said collectively, F them kids, because you allowed the institution, which was No Child Left Behind, combined with some psychologist or psychiatrist somewhere telling people that spanking your kids was the worst thing that you could do to them, and then y'all stop doing it. Just like I said on Brother Jeff's panel a few weeks ago. Gentle parenting was an attack on how Black people parent their kids. Because we spanked their kids. We spanked our kids. They was notorious for not spanking theirs. But we spanked ours. And they convinced y'all chicken heads to not spank kids. You want to talk to them. You want to talk to them until you have to drop kick them. I got one more. Because then what you got to do to them. Hold on. I'm going to show y'all something. I forgot to pull this one up. I got it down here. Hold on. It's right here with right here. Till you gotta drop kick them. Till you gotta drop kick them. He turned into a kid after that kick too. Thank you, comment said it became more important to be cute in school than it was to be smart. Children were held down because they were too smart. That ideology is playing out in society as we see each day. Thank you, HVAC. I had them jumpstart games from the 90s, the 2000s. By the time I was in kindergarten, I was so advanced, the white teachers were shocked. Yeah, remember leapfrogs? Thank you. Mentula said, well, if the kids can read and think, Miss Kendra, how Uncle Sam gonna feel the prisons and lie to them about society and history? That's facts. There was a recent crisis in Memphis where a lot of the third graders had to go to summer school for bad reading comprehension. Thank you again, HVAC. So this is why Jeff on his channel said there's going to be a great reset in the Black community when it comes to reproduction, because a lot of younger men that have some sense are being more restrictive and selective. Thank you so much. Richard said, time is a luxury they don't have. 15-minute discipline, 5-minute teaching. 15-minute discipline, 5-minute teaching. Repeat. Do teachers ignore delinquent kids and just concentrate on those who want to learn? They can't. They can't. They got to spend time doing it. It's horrible. Thank you again. HVAC said, oh, yeah, that video is unacceptable with those kids. Yeah. Thank you, Ezel. So I wonder if today's kids ever heard of the word synonyms, antonyms, homonyms. Absolutely not. Prefixes, add to that prefixes, suffixes. Know nothing about that. That Quiet Faith been a member for 24 months. Thank you for the support. Thank you, Bakish, for your super sticker. I appreciate you. HVAC said, honestly, the kids want to squabble so bad. Let's see it. I'm long overdue for a combat session. My granddad was great as a gin. He laid hands on me too. Thank you, Eat with the Rich. He looked so young, and listening to him speak, I thought the father was the kid at first. Thank you, comments. And my father used a leather belt. As a child, we didn't want that, but I'm 64. The golden rule was the rule of the household, point blank, period. Thank you, Swervo. Said, my brother and I were raised by a silent generation big mama and a baby boomer big mama on our dad's side from down south. How we grew up, we considered abuse by today's standard. However, we are productive men in society. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ezel. So anybody ever got beat with a Hot Wheels racing car track? Listen, I tell you, they hit you with anything they got near their hands. All kind of crazy stuff. Thank you, Stitches, for your super sticker. I appreciate you, sis. HVAC said, granddad stopped tagging me around 10, 11, same with moms. It worked. That's why some people say I have an old school attitude. I love it because I don't play around. Mess with me, see what happens. Thank you, Gorilla. TV off at 7. Oh, yeah, all that up all night. You up a little bit in the summertime. They let you have a little bit in the summertime, but you still got to go to bed. And they didn't want all that. I don't feel like it. What? Kitchen used to shut down, all that getting up in the middle of the night. She didn't allow you to go in her kitchen. Our mamas didn't allow that. You couldn't just get up and go in her kitchen and do it. You couldn't do nothing. No. Because once dinner was served and she done cleaned up and cleaned the stove and wiped the counter down, you can't go in there and get nothing to eat. What you want? Go lay down. Thank you, Spartacus. I made sure my homework was done before 7 so I can watch Martin on Thursday nights. Mama wasn't playing. Thank you, D-Bakes, said support for the channel. I appreciate you. Thank you again, H-Back said won't be no gentle parenting with me at all. Thank you, Carmen said no homework. Let me call your teacher tomorrow, see why you ain't getting no homework. Then suddenly you find your homework. That's how it was. Right. Thank you again, Gorilla said who remember speak and read and speak and spell? Okay. Listen. Thank you, Bios, and now they have a generation that will be dependent on the system. Yeah, the most you might could get a cup of water or something like that. Yeah, maybe. Hurry up. Go lay down. Study up. And you wasn't going to get too much water because now you got to get up and pee and all that kind of stuff. No. Lay down. I'm not sleepy. You'll get there. Lay down. If you lay there long enough, you go to sleep. But anyway, thank you all for all of the excellent support rocking with me. There was a very important topic that I wanted to address with you guys. So thank you so much. Jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your host is the Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.